Welcome back. Thanks for checking out this video. Hope you are having a fantastic day. Christie sides and her offense. Well, let's talk about it. I already did a deep dive on yesterday's game, the things that were much better, the things that still need to be worked on that's a concern going forward, especially against better teams. Um, the fans are not happy. You've got Clark has not taken a lot of shots. And this I think is important to understand too about yesterday's game is she still only took 11 shots, but she had 23 points. You cannot expect that kind of productivity every game. So the two losses before, or I'm sorry, not the two losses, but the two games where she hadn't scored over 10 points and she wasn't shooting the ball much compared to some earlier games. She didn't shoot much in this one either. They were huge shots and she was 7 for 11. So that's where you get to 23 points. But you cannot expect that kind of productivity off of 11 shots, especially from a rhythm shooter. It's just not going to be a consistent thing. So before yesterday's game, you had Side sat down with the media and she did this again. And I want to be very clear about what the problem with this is and why she's wrong and has to make adjustments. Paint touches was our goal. She's talking about the previous win. Get the paint touches, whether that was feeding the paint or getting the ball into Aaliyah or Nalissa's hands. If we get those high percentage shots, it just helps everything on the outside. Keep that in mind. High percentage helps everything on the outside. Now, the fans didn't like it. Here's one on Twitter. I understand the answer to basketball is not always threes, but what is her beef with them? You have two solid backcourt shooters, and half of your team is focused on one thing and half is focused on the other. I am begging this team to actually use their good, solid pieces and not making their backcourt just the background. Completely agree, except I don't think Mitchell will ever be just the background because she will get her shots. One other I wanted to read before I wanted to follow up on what Side said. Here's another said if paint touches were always the goal, then why even draft a player like Caitlin? They really expect the best collegiate basketball player to just pass and accept being a role player. Her play style is literally known for her deep threes. If they keep putting her at two, just trade her because it will eventually seem like they're just keeping her for the money she brings and to say they have the best pick. Yeah, people are not happy. I want to go back. Where is it? Sorry, I don't mean to make you dizzy. Yeah, if we get those high percentage shots by getting it inside, it just helps everything on the outside. A couple of points to that. They aren't high percentage shots. Not for the Fever, not really for a lot of the WNBA, but not for the Fever. And it doesn't help everything on the outside for a couple of reasons. One, if Melissa Smith gets it down in the post, she's not passing the ball. Two, there is no offense off of getting the ball in the post. And what I mean by that is, yes, I get if you might have play inside to open up the outside. That can happen. It doesn't happen with the Fever because they don't have an offense for it. They don't have an offense that moves. If you're going into the post and then the other four players are standing still, that doesn't create open looks from the outside. You need ball movement to do that, and you need player movement to do that. You need movement off the ball. You need screens both on and off the ball. Of course, 3-point shooting is going to be less effective if you don't have an offense designed to get good 3-point shots. If your offense is just throw it into the paint, everyone stand, and then, if Aaliyah or Nalissa gets in trouble and kicks it back out, hopefully someone can chuck up a three at the end of the shot clock. No, that's not going to work. If you have an offense where if it what you want to do doesn't work, you just expect Caitlin to somehow magically force a 3-point shot when they need her to and hope it goes in. That's just ridiculous. And I want to get into the numbers on that for a minute because these are not high percentage shots. Okay, let's take a look at this. Am I at the right one? Okay, first, if I don't know if you can see this, it's kind of tiny. It wouldn't zoom in for me, but we look at. I want to show you a couple different things. This effective field goal percentage. Okay, this takes into consideration 3-point field goals being worth 1 point is worth one more point than a 2-point field goal. And as you can see, Caitlin Clark's, even with her struggles, which the off games that she's had and having to take some very difficult 3-point shots, her effective field goal percentage is still 48.9%, which is ahead of Aaliyah Boston's and ahead of Kelsey Mitchell's. On top of that, the TS percentage, which is true shooting percentage, so it balances out how many threes you're taking, how good a free throw shooter you are, as well as your two. Caitlin Clark, light years ahead of Aaliyah Boston at 56% to 50.3%. Melissa Smith, I would point out too, is also solid at 56.2%, which goes to this. Where is it? Here we scroll down. Field goal percentage by distance. This is the 3 to 10 feet. So this is the in the paint look. Christie Wallace, 27%. Kelsey Mitchell, 37.5%. Berger and Samuelson, they don't play that much. Wheeler, 40%. Aaliyah Boston, only 41.9%. Caitlin Clark is much higher at 46.4%. And Melissa Smith solid at 49.1%. Alyssa Boston overall, I'm sorry, Aaliyah Boston, I just said Melissa and confused myself. You have from 10 to 16 feet, which can still be in the paint. She's down to 26%. 26%. Not a good number. And there's, by the way, I'll point out since we're going to this, that's an interesting, not so great spot for Caitlin Clark, that 10 to 16 foot range, not so good, like 14%. But look at the 16 feet and out, up to 3-point range. So there's really your mid to slightly longer range. Caitlin Clark shooting at 50% clip, 50%. And do you all remember this? I'm going to play a couple of seconds of this. Let me see, make sure I have the volume going, which was a danger sign at the beginning of the season. We don't even need the rest. She's used to those deep shots. Yes, she set a collegiate scoring record, but to that point, I don't know why that's any different now. I mean, this is crazy. I couldn't find any WNBA stats breaking it down like this. If there are any, hey, let me know in the comments below if you have a link to something. But this wild Caitlin Clark stat proves just how unbelievable her 3-point shooting range is. So, I mean, this is crazy, and I'll give you a reason why it's like this and why they're not getting it now. So this is right after she broke the scoring record. I want to slow down. So we're looking at long 3-pointers. So we're looking at 25 to 30 feet. For those of you that don't know, the NBA is 23.9. But this is crazy. Look at this number. If you can see this I don't know if you can see this clearing up, but from 25 to 30 feet, Caitlin Clark was shooting just under 40% at Iowa. You know, those logo threes, 40%. You better be really, really good from two in that paint if you're going to offset 40% from the deep three that Coach Sides was just criticizing. And by the way, this shows what I said too, which is really weird. If you look at this, this is kind of in that 10 to 16 foot range, not quite a layup, but not really a outside shot, 36%, but 50% from a more normal, like mid range outside of the free throw line. Kind of weird, right? But yeah, so she made 84 long 3-pointers. That's actually more than she made normal or short 3-pointers. And if you want an idea of that percentage, her shots from 25 to 30 feet, 39.3%. The Division One average was 29.5%. Huge, huge difference. So this idea that you're not going to get those shots or somehow she's not good at them in the WNBA is ridiculous. I'll tell you how she gets a lot of those too. Good ball movement coming off screens to catch and shoot and transition, right? Those pull-ups that we all love, the low, that comes in transition. And that is something that they're not very good at. The Fever are not good at that. If you watch these games, watch when someone else gets the ball and it's not really a fast break, but it's in transition, right? They're getting it up over half court before the other team is set. Caitlin Clark is always aware and looking for that position of being able to get that ball in that logo 3 area before the defense is set and she's covered to launch that wide open shot that we've seen that she's very, very good at. But Sides doesn't want it. And to be fair, I think her teammates ignore her quite often when she's in that position. So this idea that those are high percentage shots, we have to pound the paint because they're high percentage, and that will magically open up the outside, even when there's no offensive movement and it's 4 players standing. It's ridiculous. And again, I said a lot of good things about yesterday's game. I don't want to take that away. I just did a video about them making the playoffs, so I'm not here just being negative and bashing. However, again, that was the offense they ran last year. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, because I know I'd said before how they were 13 and 12 against the lower teams, and then 0 and 15 against the higher teams. And I think that was actually divided by winning percentage of the opposing team. So I think they were 13 and 12 against teams with losing records and 0 and 15 against teams with winning records. That's an insane, insane division, which could be what you're going to see and what you're seeing with this offense if it doesn't make the positive changes. So I'm going to leave it there. It's got a little long. I appreciate you staying and listening. I hope you got something out of it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Sides. Are they going to make changes? Are they just going to keep getting better even if they don't make changes? If you're enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.